The twilight glow stretched long silhouettes through the panes of the stately Regal Hotel, forming pools of amber radiance against the otherwise serene refined corridor. The plush rug softened a little noise, adding to the tranquil ambience that luxurious hotel's nurture, a feeling that nothing troubling or mundane could perceive this meticulously crafted haven. David Carter strolled at a steady pace along the 12th floor passageway, his mind still absorbed by the day's discussions. At 43, he had forged his tech dynasty from scratch, turning a modest venture into a global enterprise valued at billions. His keen business acumen had seldom faltered, and today was no different. The deal he had just secured would broaden his firm's scope into fresh territories, adding significant worth to his already remarkable portfolio. He eased his pace as he entered his suite, retrieving the keycard from his jacket. The day's triumph should have filled him with contentment, but instead, a familiar hollowness crept over him. Another deal sealed, another success notched on his extensive list of accomplishments, yet the sense of satisfaction remained elusive. A noise interrupted his musings, faint at first, then clearer as he stepped by his door. Someone was sweeping. David paused, keycard halfway to the slot. The sound came from around the bend, where the corridor curved toward another section of guest rooms. It wasn't his affair, he reasoned. In huddles like this, privacy was an unspoken code. Whatever was unfolding, it wasn't his concern. Yet, something in the subdued anguish of that voice made him linger. With a slight shake of his head at his own intrigue, David stepped away from his door and moved softly toward the sound. Turning the corner, he saw her, a young woman in a hotel maid's outfit, sitting on the floor beside a cleaning cart, her back against the wall. She wore vivid yellow gloves, one gloved hand holding a phone to her ear while the other covered her lips, trying to muffle her sobs. Her blonde hair was tied back in a tidy bun, though a few strands had slipped free, framing her tear-streaked face. "Please, Mrs. Thompson," she was saying, her voice quivering. "I know I've been tardy twice this week, but Lily's daycare called again about her fever. She's only 4. I can't just leave her alone when she's unwell." David stood still, suddenly feeling like an outsider in this private moment of sorrow. He should turn back, he thought, give her space, but something held him in place perhaps. The raw emotion on display sound like the polished facades he met in conference rooms and corporate tea offices. "Yes, I understand it's my final notice," the young woman went on, closing her eyes as new tears traced down her cheeks. "I'll find someone to stay with her tomorrow, I promise. Thank you for not dismissing me today." She ended the call and lowered the phone, letting her head rest back against Thule as she tried to steady herself. It wasn't that she noticed David standing there. She gasped softly, quickly wiping her tears and rising to her feet. "I'm so sorry, sir," she said, smoothing her uniform. "I didn't mean to be improper. I'll return to work immediately." Up close, David could see her name tag, Emma. "There's no need to apologize," he said, his voice softer than he had planned. "Is everything okay?" Emma blinked in surprise, clearly not expecting kindness from a guest. "Yes, sir, just a personal issue. Is there something you need for your room?" David hesitated. In his world, problems were fixed with wealth and authority. A call here, a contract there, and barriers dissolved. But the young woman before him wasn't seeking pity, and he sensed that offering help outright might only deepen her discomfort. "No, thank you," he finally answered. "I have all I need." Emma nodded swiftly, gathering her cleaning tools. "Have a pleasant evening, sir," she said, her professional demeanor firmly restored despite her reddened eyes. David watched her push the cart down the hallway, her posture upright despite the weight of whatever troubles she bore. He returned to his suite and shut the door, but the image of Emma weeping in the corridor lingered as he went through his evening routine. That night, sleep evaded he found himself thinking about Lily, Emma's daughter, and wondering about their circumstances. Was there no one else to assist with childcare? What would happen if Emma lost her job? These were questions he'd never typically ponder about someone he'd met so briefly. Yet they swirled persistently in his mind. Morning arrived with soft sunlight filtering through the hotel room curtains. David had made a decision during his Sleepless night. He reached fourth hotel phone and dialed the front desk. "Good morning, Mr. Carter. How may we assist you today?" came the courteous reply. "I'd like to speak with your hotel manager." David said, "It's regarding your staff members." An hour later, David sat across from Langston, the hotel's general manager, in a private meeting room off the main lobby. "Mr. Carter, I assure you, if one of our staff has provided subpar service, we will address it promptly," Mr. Langston said, looking concerned. "Actually, it's the opposite," David replied. "I'm asking about Emma. I believe she works as a housekeeper in the 12th floor. I'd like to know more about the hotel's policies for employees with young children." Mr. Langston looked aback. "Emma Taylor, she's one of our most diligent workers. Despite some recent attendance issues, may I ask what your interest is?" David chose his words carefully. "Let's just say I admire commitment when I see it, and I'm keen on supporting working parents facing challenges balancing their duties." By the time their meeting ended, arrangements had been made. David left feeling a sense of purpose unrelated to business deals or profit margins. That same morning, Em arrived at work 10 minutes early. Despite another night off broken sleep caring for Lily's fever, she had left her daughter at her elder Linneber's apartment, promising to bring home medicine and soup after her shift. The weight of yesterday's final warning from Mrs. Thompson, the head of housekeeping, pressed heavily on Hermond. One more absence, and she would lose the job her family desperately needed. "Emma, could you come to my office, please?" Mrs. Thompson called as Emma clocked in. Emma's heart sank. Had her boss reconsidered the final warning, or was she about to be sacked? Despite arriving early, with trembling hands, Emma followed Mrs. Thompson to the small office near the laundry room. To her surprise, Mr. Langston, the hotel manager, was waiting inside, along with another woman she didn't recognize. "Please sit down, Emma," Mr. Langston said. Gesturing to an empty chair, Emma perched on the edge, bracing herself. "Is this bad news, sir? If it's about yesterday, I promise it won't happen again. Lily's fever is improving, and I've arranged." Mr. Langston raised a hand, stopping her. "This isn't a disciplinary meeting, Emma. In fact, I'd like to introduce you to Ms. Carter, the director of our new employee family support program." Emma looked at the unfamiliar woman, confusion evident on her face. "Ms. Carter smiled warmly. "The Regal Hotel Group is launching a new initiative for employees with children or other family responsibilities. It includes emergency childcare services, flexible scheduling options, and family health benefits." "I don't understand," Emma said softly. Mrs. Thompson, whose stern manner had softened slightly, explained, "It means that when Lily is sick and can't attend daycare, you'll have access to reliable childcare, and we'll adjust your schedule to better suit school hours and medical appointments." Emma stared at them, struggling to grasp what she was hearing. "But why now? How did this happen?" Mr. Langston exchanged a glance with Ms. Carter before answering. "One of our guests raised concerns about work-life balance for our staff. He's made a generous donation to establish this program, not just here but at all Regal Hotel properties nationwide." "A guest did this?" Emma asked, her voice barely audible. "Yes," Ms. Carter confirmed. "He wished to remain anonymous, but he specifically intended hoping the program would support dedicated employees like you, balancing work with family responsibilities." Emma left the meeting in a daze, her mind grappling with the sudden shift in her circumstances. As she pushed her cart toward the first room on her cleaning schedule, she noticed a small envelope attached to the door of room 1227, the room belonging to the man she'd met in the hallway the previous evening. With trembling fingers, she opened the envelope and unfolded it inside. "Emma, I hope the new program will ease things for you and Lily. Sometimes life brings unforeseen challenges, and sometimes it provides unexpected answers just when we need them most. Wishing you and your daughter well, David Carter." Emma carefully unfolded the note and slipped it into her pocket, blinking back tears that, for the first time in months, weren't born of despair. 3 months later, David returned to the Regal Hotel for another business meeting. As he checked in at the front desk, he inquired casually about the employee family support program. It's been tremendously successful, Mr. Carter, the manager informed him with a smile. Employee retention has improved significantly, and we've even seen a rise in guest satisfaction scores. The staff seems more engaged and less stressed. David nodded, pleased but not surprised. And Emma Taylor, is she still with Theodore? Oh yes, though she's in a different role now. Ms. Carter recognized her organizational talents and promoted her to help coordinate the program. She's been invaluable in finding ways to make Idavan more effective. Later that afternoon, as David crossed Thelby toward the elevators, he noticed a woman at the concierge desk assisting August with directions. Her blonde hair was styled in a neat bun, and she wore a tailored hotel uniform, different from the housekeeping attire he recalled. As if sensing his gaze, she looked up, and their eyes met across the busy lobby. Emma's face lit up with recognition, and after finishing with the guest, she approached him with confident steps. "Mr. Carter," she said warmly, "I hoped I might see you during your stay." "Miss Taylor," he replied with a smile, "Our congratulations are in order for your promotion." A slight blush colored her cheeks. "Thank you, it's been an incredible opportunity, but more importantly, I wanted to thank you personally for what you did not just for me and Lily, but for everyone here." David shook his head slightly. "I merely proposed a program that made good business sense. Happier employees create a better experience for guests." Emma's knowing smile suggested she wasn't convinced by his modest explanation. "Well, whatever your reasons, it's changed lives, including ours. Lily hasn't missed a single doctor's appointment, and I haven't had to choose between being a good mother and keeping my job." "How is Lily doing?" David asked, genuinely curious. Emma's entire face brightened at the mention of her daughter. "Much better. The consistent routine and reliable health care have made a huge difference. She's actually in the hotel's daycare center right now. They've set up a small facility for employees' children. Would you like to see it?" To his own surprise, David found himself accepting the invitation. As they walked toward the newly established daycare center, Emma shared stories about other employees who had benefited from the program. Single parents who no longer had to choose between work and family. Staff members caring for elderly relatives who now had access to respite care. Young parents who could advance their careers without sacrificing their children's well-being. The daycare center was vibrant and cheerful, with colorful artwork decorating the walls and sound of children's laughter filling the air. A small girl with blonde curls looked up from a picture book and ran toward them when she spotted Emma. "Mommy, look what I made," she exclaimed, holding up a crayon drawing. Emma knelt down to examine the artwork with fitting admiration. "It's beautiful, sweetheart. Lily, this is Mr. Carter. He's a friend who helped start our special program here at the hotel." The little girl regarded him solemnly for a moment before offering him the drawing. "You can have it if you want," she said with a generous spirit unique to children. David accepted the gift with due seriousness. "Thank you, Lily. I'll keep it in my office." Later, as David prepared for his business dinner, he looked at the child's drawing, now propped on his hotel room desk. It was a simple illustration. A yellow sun, a blue sky, and 3 stick figures holding hands. "Me, Mommy, and Ms. Carter at work," Lily had explained. He thought about how different this hotel stay felt compared to countless others throughout his career. Usually, hotels were just interchangeable settings for his business endeavors, places to rest and work between meetings. But now, he found himself noticing the people who kept the hotel running, wondering about their stories, their struggles, their lives beyond these walls. His phone buzzed with a message from his assistant, confirming tomorrow's meeting schedule. David responded briefly, then paused, adding another instruction. "Research employee family support programs for our company. Schedule a meeting with HR next week to discuss implementation." As he set down his phone, David realized that his chance encounter with a weeping maid had shifted something profound within him. For years, he had gouged success by acquisitions, market share, and profit margins. But perhaps there were other, equally meaningful measures, the difference made in people's lives. The burdens lifted, the opportunities created. It wasn't world-altering philanthropy or headline-grabbing charity, just a small adjustment. That made the machinery of everyday life run more smoothly for people working hard and doing their best. Yet, somehow, this modest initiative had given him more fulfillment than his last 3 company acquisitions command. David picked up Lily's drawing again, smiling at the wobbly stick figure holding hands beneath a cheerful sun. Sometimes, he thought, the most significant connections happen in the most unexpected places, even in a quiet hallway on an ordinary evening, when we pause long enough to truly see another person's struggle. And in that simple act of seeing, everything can change.